Oh, what? Oh no, seriously? Another one? What do you do? I mean, this is absolute lunacy. Yeah, I'm almost getting tired of the point of having to address all these things. Recently, I got into another discussion with an individual who he contacted me and impressed upon me how important it was to do only one set per body part. And he sent me pictures of Dorian Yates. And yeah, Dorian Yates. Let's take a look at Dorian Yates, and we will see what we're talking about here. Now, Dorian Yates was a professional bodybuilder, and if we take a look at this here, excuse me, the dude was huge. Yeah, I mean, look at that. That guy was a monster. Yeah, just incredible on what we end up seeing here. And this guy that contacted me said, you know what? This is all because he did one set per body part and he was 110% into the workout and into that one set. In other words, he laid it all on the line, didn't leave anything in the tank, just poured his heart and soul into this, cried to the gods that they would give him the internal fortitude and the energy to do that rep to failure and to activate every single individual muscle fiber in his being. And that's how he got that big. And I'm like, yeah, that's not really how that happened. And of course, I gave him a number of studies showing how multiple sets are better than single sets. And he said that's why he contacted me. And he continued to show me pictures. So, yeah, it ends up, and it's like you don't realize that for quite some time, what he ended up doing, well, Dorian Yates anyway, is that he ended up for a number of years that he did multiple sets and he did multiple exercises per body part and then the reps sometimes as many as possible. It is insane, and that's how he got the majority of his physique. And so this guy's like, no, 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 it's only one set per body part. And he's just kind of throwing out these little things, copy and paste, these little quotes from Dorian Yates saying, and it's like, no, let's take a look at his training routine. Now, he had published his training routine, and this is Dorian Yates from 1987 to 1992. And so that's a number of years there. That's 5 years. But before this, he even did. Yeah. So let's take a look at this. So on Monday, this is source one more rep, lessons from the world's biggest, strongest, and best bodybuilders. This is Dorian Yates' workout from 87 to 92. He's doing chest, biceps, and triceps. Now, how many exercises is he doing for chest? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 exercises for his chest. How many sets did he do? 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10. He did 10 sets, 10 sets for his chest, just his chest. And down here we got his curls. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 for his biceps, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 for his triceps. And again, you can see the number of sets there. And if we continue on where he does legs, again, we see 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We see multiple sets. For his back, there's 2, 4, 5, 7, as many reps as possible, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 13. He got 13 sets just for his back. And then for his, what was that? His shoulders, we see multiple sets on there, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, And then we get down here to his chest, biceps, and triceps, and it's kind of just going over that same thing again. We've got so many multiple sets. And then it goes into week 2. Where again, what we end up seeing is just biceps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, We've got so many of these exercises where Dorian Yates ended up doing multiple sets per body part. So, this whole misnomer about that you only need to do one set per body part and you just need to be super intense, that seems to be the mantra of a lot of people who believe in this one set nonsense provides better hypertrophy and strength gains despite all of the studies. And we're talking hundreds of studies. Matter of fact, and you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And unfortunately, logic, proof does not it doesn't go well with these people because they have these blinders on and they're so convinced that what they've been told and from their own experiences saying, well, look, this is how big I got. Well, the problem is you probably didn't lift that way your entire life. I've never met anybody who has started and did only one set per body part in the way that they claim and build their muscular physique that way. It just hasn't happened. Every single person has done multiple sets in the past. In other words, traditional training where you do multiple exercises per body part, you do multiple sets, and then of course the reps are, somewhere between 6 and 12, unless you actually look into more hypertrophy range. You get into 20, 30 with lower reps, and there was actually a study that has been done on that, and it came out in 2023 that I talked about, where the lower weight and higher repetitions that you'll engage those neuromuscular fibers, the smaller ones, and then once those fatigues, then the bigger ones jump in to take over the work. And so, in other words, you put a lot of tension on all of the muscles, and it results in hypertrophy. But for a good balance of hypertrophy and strength is between 5 and 12, 6 and 12 within that. And through the majority of my life of lifting, that's what I ended up doing. And I got some awesome results, and I kind of give that as an example for people. I want to do a routine. I've made routines for a lot of people. I did it in the military after I got out and retired, did self-defense, firearms instructor. I ran across a number of people that were tired of the dad bod or the mom bod, and they wanted exercise routines. So I ended up making these routines, and usually I say between 6 and 12 reps, and to where that last repetition is, you can barely get it up, but you get it up. Maybe you have 1 or 2 reps in reserve. In other words, you could probably do 1 or 2 more, but let's not push it. And so your first rep you could do a number of things. You could do like 6 on the first set, you could do 8 in the next set, then 10, then 12, or you could do 12, 10, 8, and 6. Just kind of reverse those. Again, adjusting the weights as necessary. So again, you get close to failure. And that's what we find out in studies is that going close to failure or to failure promotes hypertrophy and strength gains. And especially when you look at that rep range, you get a good balance of both. So anyway, that was just really strange. And then once I showed him this spreadsheet and once I showed him some other quotes from Dorian and his book and so on and so forth, some page captures, the name calling ensued. And it's like, dude, if you want to do 1 set per workout, I'm not saying that you're not going to get any results. What I am saying is that you're not going to get the most effective and efficient results if you're looking for strength gains, if you're looking for hypertrophy. Multiple sets wins out every single time. And again, I brought this up. It's almost like a broken record. There's been a number of studies done. It shows that if you do 2 or 3 sets versus 1 set, you'll get a 40% increase in strength gains. There was another one that said 46% in hypertrophy. It's around that 45% as well, depending on how you lift the weight. But again, multiple sets always outperforms the 1 set per body part. So, and then, the name calling ensued, and next thing you know, I'm banned and blocked, and this is it, I don't really care if you do 1 set. If that works for you and you're happy with the results, then drive on. If you have a schedule that is really, really busy and you don't have a lot of time in the gym and you absolutely cannot do 2 or 3 sets, which I find kind of hard to fathom. I work 12-hour shifts, and then you knock on 45 minutes and another 45 minutes for travel time. And I was able to get in, 45 minutes, an hour, and even with some good time management, I was able to get an hour and a half workout before I went to work. So, it depends on what your priorities are. But with that being said, if you're happy with your physique, and you could probably maintain the physique that you have by doing one set per body part, then by all means go ahead and do that. But you cannot tell me that one set per body part and doing a little 20 or 30 minute exercise routine twice a week or whatever is going to build more muscle and give you more strength gains than multiple sets. It is absolutely and unequivocally not true. So, in the world of health and fitness, oh, by the way, it should be noted that the individual that contacted me about how wrong I was, and that Dorian Yates, he used this one set per body part, and obviously that wasn't the case. He was selling a program, a routine to people that did one set per body part. So there's probably a reason why he got really, really mad and started hurling insults, because when you don't have proof, you resort to ad hominem attacks and name calling and, I've been doing this for decades. Longevity doesn't mean that you're right. If you're born before me, it doesn't mean that you're right. If if you did this and, I worked in a gym, well, it doesn't mean you're right either. It just means you worked in a gym. You could be 100% absolutely wrong. We see a number of fitness influencers who work in gyms that are spouting some absolute garbage coming out of their pie holes. So that doesn't hold any water. But facts matter. And testing with control groups and strict protocols and measurements to see where the data goes and what conclusions that actually can be applied to real world people. That's what it's all about. And that's what I like about these studies, these meta-analysis on hypertrophy and strength and nutrition and so on and so forth, and how these things interact in regards to health and fitness, longevity, heart health, cardio work and things like that, especially for seniors and the elderly, as I am a senior. I can't believe that. I'm going to be 58 this year. But that is really important, because if we rely on the facts, we can get rid of the bro science, which isn't even science at all. It's just kind of rules of thumbs and myths that many have been disproven over time. And more of those myths are being dispelled and disproven as there's more studies being done with control groups and, just looking at the data. It's like, that's not a thing anymore. There was the thing that said, your body can only absorb 30 grams of protein. And so, eating more protein in a day, you're just going to crap it out because your body can only process 30 grams at a time. And it's like, well, that's not how that works. That little phrase, 30 grams, was taken out of the context of the entire conversation. And if that was indeed the case, then you wouldn't have people like me that are 250, 255 pounds or larger who have a lot of muscle mass, because if it didn't work, then how did their muscles get so big? If that didn't work, if your body crapped out, if your body has a limit and you crap the rest of it out, regardless of what it is, then you would never have people that would be my size or bigger. So, it's basic science, it's basic biology and muscle protein synthesis. There's that. The other thing that I really think is disingenuous with fitness influencers and crap fitness influencers is they promise you the moon, and they give these examples of individuals like Dorian Yates, Mike Menser, saying the one set per body part and look how big and strong they are, as trying to convince the average everyday person with the dad bod or the mom bod, and they're getting, and they see the importance of getting in shape for health and longevity, and they try to compare the two. Look how big you can get. Look at Dorian Yates and look at Mike Menser and how awesome and how strong he was and blah blah blah. And it's like, but the average Joe and Jane Q public, the elephant sitting in the room is these guys over here did a lot of steroids. And even Mike Mentzer admitted to doing barbiturates as pre-workout he took speed to fuel his workouts. Oh, by the way, Mike Mentzer died at the age of 49 from heart complications. What do a lot of people who abuse steroids die of? Heart complications, enlarged organs, so on and so forth. So, there's that. I'm just going to throw that out there. There's probably not a real good example to put out as to say, you can look like this, but you can't, because the missing components are a massive abuse of steroids and in some cases even barbiturates. So, yeah, and if we look at Mike Mentzer, he spent at least 10 or 12 years doing traditional training with multiple exercises per body part, with multiple sets per body part. It's just absolutely crazy. So, yeah, this was a new one. Somebody had seen one of my posts on one of the fitness pages and decided to send me a PM, and I accepted, and because he put some information in there, and he says, "Hey, I want to talk to you about bodybuilding and getting in shape and so on and so forth." And so I was like, "Oh, sure, yeah." And I'm always under the assumption that I can share some information and I can get some information because I'm open to anything within reason, but there has to be proof. You can tell me that the moon is made of cheese, but unless you have proof, we're not going to deal with that nonsense. And when somebody comes around and ends up saying, well, kind of like the one set per body part, and then I ask for proof, and then they throw Dorian Yates or Mike Mentzer into the mix, it's like that's not proof. Somebody who did steroids and barbiturates and who wrote a book, that's not proof. That's just them writing a book. I can write a book filled with a bunch of lies. It doesn't mean that my lies are truth. That's why we have studies. That's why we have meta-analysis. That's why we have scientists and sports scientists, people, doctors with PhDs who look at hypertrophy, that look at strength training, that have controls and do measurements in regards to hypertrophy. They do x-rays, they do MRIs, they do DEXA scans, they do the body fat content where you're in that tub of water and, they get those accurate results. They even do muscle biopsies. Yeah, stick the needle, get some of that muscle fibers, pull it out with the needle and get the muscle biopsy. I don't know if you've ever had a biopsy, but yeah, it's not really a fun thing. It's a kind of a large needle, but they did it because they wanted to find out and come to a conclusive proof of what worked and what didn't and everything in between. And with that, that's where we get these studies from, and that's where we get these meta-analysis. So with that being said, yeah, that's the deal. The majority of the people, and I would say I've never run into a person that was skinny, that did one set per body part for their entire lives and got huge. It just never happens. Now, what I will say, and I will put a disclaimer, that once you get to a certain size and you're happy with your physique, you could probably do 3 workouts a week, and you could probably do one set per body part and maintain the physique and the strength that you have. That's absolutely doable. But the line that people seem to cross is when they say that you can get more hypertrophy and strength gains with one set versus multiple sets. And science shows that that is not true. So anyway, what crazy things have you seen in the fitness world? Like the spot fat reduction, do these exercises to get rid of your belly fat, when actually it's a nutritional deficit, calorie deficit that actually leads to fat loss. And it's not like if you exercise your stomach, you're going to lose all your stomach fat, but you're going to still have that flabby arm fat and you're still going to be, fat in the face. That's not how it happens. Because then you could pick and choose and say, well, my ass is jiggly, so I'm just going to work my butt. And then your butt is nice and firm, but then the rest of your body is a hot, obese mess. That's not how the body works. So what crazy things have you heard from shit fitness influencers? And put that in the comments down below, and I'd love to hear it because there are some wild things. And just follow the facts and put those things into your routine. And again, the recommendation. Work out 3 to 5 times a week with weights, so that way you could work on strength and hypertrophy, multiple sets, anywhere from 6 to 12 repetitions will give you a good balance. And when you're first starting out, use light weight so that you can have correct form, so that you don't get any muscle strain. And a lot of fitness organizations that certify personal trainers, which some of these shit influencers are certified by these organizations, but they don't follow the rules, say, start out with 50, 60% of your 1 rep max, and then kind of around 70 and 80, and you will get some good gains. And you will be healthy, and you'll benefit from that. You'll reduce the chances of cardio events and other diseases. It's not a guarantee, but it will put you into that percentage of people that are generally more healthy than the rest of society. And then if you want to go to get more strength gains, if you have some goals for hypertrophy or powerlifting or whatever it is, add that to the mix. But whatever it is, make sure that you have fun and make sure that it's a priority in your life and that you enjoy it. Same thing with your nutrition. I've noticed a lot of people have made accusations against me saying I'm a slave to a restrictive diet and that it's only, rice and broccoli and chicken and nothing else. No, that's a personal choice for me, and I've done that because I like chicken, I like rice, I like broccoli, but I also like Korean barbecue. I also like carbonara. I also like oil spaghetti. I like there's so many things, I like tiramisu. That's a thing there as well. There's so many different cuisines from around the world, Indian cuisine, South American, Spanish. There's, of course, Korean. I'll eat that stuff up. There's so many different good and great tasting foods. You don't need to limit yourself to this monastic gruel and say, this is the only way in which I can gain muscle or cut or whatever. No, you can eat tasty and flavorful meals. Just watch the calories, meet your macro goals, whether you're cutting or bulking, and you'll be good to go. Don't eat foods that you don't like, because what that ends up being is a negative reinforcement, and it gives you reasons to not continue. So I never advocate having somebody eat something that they don't like, because it's just a negative reinforcement and it doesn't help you stay on the fitness train. Okay, so anyway, that's it. I just want to throw that out there. Again, put your comments in the comment section down below. Crazy fitness, wild, stupid things that you've seen, and I would love to read them. All right, so that's going to be it. Take care. We will see you on the next video. Peace. Yeah.